Okay, so here are some tips that we can use in shading our geometrical figures. So last time we talked about creating tonal values in flat or in a monotonous way. So we tried an activity sketching in different tonal values from light, medium to dark, no? And now we'll proceed with the second topic, which is creating a shading of geometrical figures already. So here in this section, you'll have to learn how to give or how to give life to a simple geometric figure since basic geometry are easier to shade than a detailed body, di ba? So we try to break down first the figures into simpler forms, in this case yung ating geometry, and try to bring them to life using our shadings and our shadows. And of course, yung napag-aralan natin, yung graduation of tonal values. So just to give you a summary of what we are going to discuss today, so we'll have shading shapes to form geometric figures. We'll talk on the light sources, so the different light sources, kung saan siya nanggagaling, how do we represent them using our tonal value. And then of course, the light to dark tonal shade, when do we use them? And of course, yung ating shadows which create depth, no, create that sense of realism in our geometric figures. So those were the basic summary for the whole activity today. Going back to our theory of light and shade, so just for definition purposes, no, so we define value as a term they used to describe light, gray, and dark tones. All neutral tones from white, black, and all gray tones between are called achromatic, meaning they have no color, and all tones that have some colors are called chromatic. Just a glimpse of history and some works that pertains to this activity. No, uh, it was a Renaissance artist who coined the term chiaroscuro. No, this is a Renaissance artist. So this is an Italian artist po si Chiaroscuro. You can Google yung kanyang mga work, and then you can find this the same topic that we are going to discuss today. So it was coined chiarosco to describe how light and dark can imply depth and volume. So the word chiaroscuro is a combination of two Italian words actually. No, so the light and the dark. So si chiaro means clear and light, and oscuro means obscure and dark. Then the first element that we are going to delve ourselves with in the shading or geometric forms is the light source. So what is that light source? Actually, the light source is the light that is projecting onto an object or a figure, and it creates light, dark, and also casting of shadows. So your source of light may be, example, are your moon or the sun or a light through a window, or perhaps you will use an artificial light to describe no your to describe the source of the shadows and shades. No, we'll have to use that on our still life then, no, we'll try to get a lighting element, then we're going to light our subject, and that uh, i-draw natin how that shadows play, how that casting of light plays with the shadows and tonal values. Okay, so gagawin natin yan on your midterm. No, yan yung midterm natin. Still life na tayo. So, yun. So, merong iba't ibang klaseng type ng or parts of the light source. So once it struck your figure, actually, no, magkakaroon yan ng dalawang part. Okay, so we'll have to dig deeper to that mamayang konti. Okay, so we start with that element na nakikreate when a light source strike our object. So there are two kinds of shadows. So dalawang shadow po ang makakas sa ating geometry. Okay, the first shadow is your cast shadow. And the second is your form shadow. So from the word itself, cast shadow, big sabihin yan po yung it's the reflection or the shadow that has been casted when the light strikes to our object. So that is the casted shadow. Okay, so a cast shadow is not a solid shape but varies in tone and value. Okay, so yung cast shadow natin, no, hindi lang basta dark yan. No? Meron din yang several tonal values. So depende kung saang part siya. So talk about mamaya yung casted shadow at yung mga iba't ibang part ng casted shadow and how do we represent them. For now, let's just define these two types of shadows. This cast shadow. So again, no, ito yung anino, kung baga in Tagalog. And the other shadow po is your form shadow. Yan. So form shadow, ibig sabihin po, this is the shadow of your object. So it was not casted doon sa iyong base, no, but it was casted to itself. Kung baga, ano yung epekto ng source sa kanya. Once the light strikes to it, no, magkakas ng shadow doon sa ating background, and also it will form a shadow doon sa mismong edges niya. So that's actually is your form shadow, ang tawag po natin dyan. So a form shadow is actually less defined side of an object. So it is that part that not facing the light source. A form shadow has softer, less defined edges than a cast shadow. So mas define yung edges niya kaysa yung cast shadow. Okay. And then form shadows are very subtle shadows, essentially for creating the illusion of volume, mass, and depth. So ito yung nag-give life o nagkakaroon ng nagbibigay buhay doon sa ating form. No? It creates that sense of depth and that sense of volume, itong ating form shadow. Again, let me just summarize these two. We have two kinds of shadows, the cast shadow and your form shadow. So here is a concrete figure of what we are talking kanina dun sa ating previous slide. So we have here your light source that is striking our sphere. Okay, so the source of light, yung effect niya dun sa ating form is actually your light source. And then we have your two types of shadows, your form shadow and then your cast shadow. So si cast shadow is that one that created doon sa base mo o doon sa pinagpatungan natin ng ating form. And then you'll have your form shadow that which is the effect of the light source to your form. Okay, so sa form shadow na tayo. So again, what is this form shadow? It's the shadow that is the effect of your light source on itself. Okay, yung epekto ng light source natin dun sa mismong form. Okay, so there are three parts of our form shadow. So we have your shadow edge or your core shadow, the dark middle tone, and of course your reflected light. So see, shadow edge or our core shadow is actually the edge where the light is blocked from the light source, and it is the darkest value on the dark side. So ang core shadow natin is the darkest light value, the darkest tonal value. Okay, so the core or the darkest value blends into the middle tone from the shadow edge on around subjects. Ayan, so it is the darkest tone, big sabihin just in the middle of these two, no? dark middle tone, and then your reflected tone. And not in the middle pala. The first one is your core shadow, and then you'll have your dark middle tone, and then your reflected tone. Okay po, si dark middle tone, no, is actually lighter than your core shadow. So the variables blended from the shadow edge on the dark side, so the dark middle tone are darker than any value on the light side. And then you'll have your reflected light. So this type of shadow, yung ating form shadow, is that part that reflects, no, doon sa base mo. So yun yung effect ng pag-strike ng light dun sa object, no, it tends to, so yung light source will be reflected dun sa object. Okay, because there is a base, kumbaga, if your base is a white table, so yung white table will reflect to your form. So yung effect na yon, we call that your reflected light. So it's the third part of your form shadow. Okay, let's just have a recap para maintindihan natin ulit. So our form shadow is the effect of the light source to itself. Okay, yun yung ating form shadow. And then it is divided into three basic parts. So we have your core shadow, your dark middle tone, and then your reflected light. Ayan, so this is the element of the light source then. So our light source is again divided into two parts. So once the light strikes on our object, dalawa yung effect niya, no? So how do we represent the light source, no? We should represent them in these two parts. So the highlight, which is the lightest spot, or yung mismong part that where the light strikes to the object. So yun, so it is the lightest. So that's your highlight. And then your middle tone naman, okay, it's is after your highlight. So, ibig sabihin, kung sa hierarchy siya, so rank 1 siya, so rank 2 si middle tone. Ibig sabihin po, yung kanyang tone and value is quite darker than your highlight. Okay, so take note po ha, yung pag-represent ng ating highlight is actually sometimes white, sometimes grayish na. Kung grayish, light gray yung ginamit mo as your highlight, so dapat yung middle tone mo, dadagdagan mo ng more tones, no? You add more gray to it, no? Para mayroong graduation of your tonal value. Pag sinabi natin graduation, merong transition. So dapat may pagkakaiba yung highlight versus your light middle tone. So yan ha, yung dalawang part of your light source and how to represent them in our object. The last element is our casted shadow. So si casted shadow has also three parts. Okay. So we have the umbra, penumbra, and the antumbra. Okay. How do we represent them? So si umbra is the darkest part of the shadow. So ibig sabihin pag darkest siya, it is that part na hindi tinatamaan ng light, kumbaga brown out, no? There is an absence of light. So yun si umbra. No, having said that definition, ibig sabihin dapat pa yung umbra natin should be dark, the darkest part. And then we have your penumbra, no? Penumbra is that lighter outer shadow where the object is only partially obscuring the light. Okay, so as you can see here in the figure, just after your umbra is your penumbra. Okay, medyo mas mahaba siya yung casting niya. So, depende yung kung saan yung light source niya. Ha? We'll talk about the light source mamaya and how do we cast our shadows with reference to our light source. So, yan. Si umbra, then your penumbra. So, si penumbra is lighter in tonal value compared to your umbra. Again, and then we have the third part of your casted shadow, which is your antumbra. So si antumbra is more obscured So when it is visible, it seems to extend out from the penumbra in a lighter and less distinct way. Okay, parang ang tonal value niya is same with the reflected light, no, dun sa light natin kanina. So nasa middle tone siya. Okay, so that's your antumbra. Yan. So I guess it's very clear to us, no, kung ano yung element na kailangan nating makita doon sa ating activity today. We'll have a geometric form. So napakadami nating form sa ating activity. Not only this sphere, no, some other we have cube, I think we have cone. I'll post that in MS mamaya, and you need to produce an output at exactly 5 o'clock today. Okay, I'll be uploading the portal, and you guys should submit that until 5 only. Okay, and then the physical plate, since we don't meet at any in any days, no, wala tayong face to face, only the 1A yata. I don't know, you guys who don't like to have face to face should be dapat nagpe-face to face kayo. Is your setback, no? Kayo yung nawalan, because we had this experience already with the online babies, ang tawag namin, no? Napakalayo nung kanilang milestone compared to that class that is having their face to face. Okay, so I hope you consider my suggestion to you that we take Friday as your face to face. No, once in a while we'll see each other. Yan. So going back again, and let me just have a summary of these 3 cast shadow para lang clear sa atin. Okay, ulit-ulit ulit-ulit, at least mapapa-remind ko kayo, no? Okay. So si cast shadow has 3 parts: your umbra, penumbra, and your antumbra. Umbra is the darkest part, penumbra is lighter than your umbra, and then of course your antumbra, no, is the lightest of these 3. Okay. Okay, so these are the different angles on how to cast your shadows, no? It depends on the distance of your light source, and of course kung anong angle, or kung saan nakalocate yung iyong light source. So see here, no, mas closer si light source natin, the one below, yung pinakadulo na figure natin on your right, sa outmost of your right, no, napakababa nung ating shadows, at yung angle niya, it strikes to our object. So ang nangyari, it casted a very long shadow. Ayan, if our light source is at this area, yung second figure, so you see there, you see the axis. Okay, so that actually is that part of your the part of your highlight, or yung part of your light source, itong axis na ito. So yung may line po dyan na axis, actually that is the part of your light source. So ibig sabihin po, that part is yung dyan tumatama yung ating light. Okay, so nandyan yung dalawang part natin ng light source. Ayan, so as your light source change its distance, change its position on our object, so nag-iiba din po yung casting ng shadows natin. Now, there's a study on that, a separate one. You'll have an in-depth of how to cast your shadows in your graphics. 1 ba? O kasama na sa 2? Actually, perspective eh. So that would be on your second sem. Okay, magpo-perspective kayo, and based on that perspective, you'll have to cast your shadows. Sabihin sa inyo, i-define sa inyo where is the location of your light source, and you have to calculate. You have to not calculate, but you need to show the correct casting on that perspective po. I think that's the latter part na eh. Mga maybe mga second week of your second sem, yung casting ng shadows. But for now, no, let me just give you a brief of that. O parang pahapyaw lang. Okay, kasi naman tayo, since this is visual and the medium is freehand. So, dapat meron lang tayong background on how to cast yung ating mga shadows depending on your light source. Ayan, so this is a close-up of what I am telling you kanina, no? How do we cast the shadow? So, ganito yung representation niya. So, kapag gagawin nyo yung ating activity today, make sure na iisa lang ang light source ninyo. The problem with artists, no, that hindi naman talaga pinag-aralan yung kanilang artwork, no? Sometimes, paiba-iba yung kung saan yung casted shadow, no? Paiba-iba yung light sourcing niya. So, ang magandang artwork po, at least itong mga elements natin is present doon sa inyong mga work. Ayan. So, depende po doon sa distance ng shadows mo, and of course, kung anong angle po ng light source mo. Doon magdidepend yung casted shadows mo. So ito yung summary nung pinag-usapan natin kanina. Okay, so we have your element ng light, your light source. It has two parts, our highlight and then your light middle tone. And then your form shadow divided into three parts. So your core shadow, yung middle tone, and then of course yung reflected light. And then lastly, your third element, your casted shadows. Casted shadows having three parts to your umbra, penumbra, and then your antumbra. Okay, so sa activity natin today, I want to see these elements. Dapat present lahat itong mga element na pinag-usapan natin. Okay.
Hello everyone, it's Jess here and welcome to today's video. I have narrowed down 3 best shading tips that can help any artist improve their art skills. These are some that have personally helped me and I hope will help you too. Shading proper values can get a little bit tricky, but the basics that I'm going to mention today will help you apply them to more complex drawings like you see here. Shading can be done with pencils, but you can also apply the tips from today to mediums such as markers and also ballpoint pens. So without further ado, let's get started. The first tip that I have for you guys today is to practice grayscale value exercises. If you're unfamiliar with the grayscale value exercise, it's basically a value study going from light to dark. I like to think of this as a warm-up for artists, which is great for all levels. You can simply draw out a long rectangle and then separate it to 8 equal sections. And just like any dancer before they begin dancing, they begin with a stretch. Stretching prepares their muscles for the sport. And that's why I like to compare the grayscale exercise as a warm-up for artists. Creating an even shading from light to dark is going to prepare us to have a consistent pressure while we're drawing. I numbered my sections from 1 to 8, and 1 is going to be the lightest and 8 is going to be the darkest. The way you hold your pencil and the pressure that you apply to each stroke is very important in this exercise. And there are a few things that you should aim for. You want to make sure that all the sections are all different and no values repeat. This is a great exercise for the amount of pressure you use on the pencil. Therefore, I recommend holding the pencil a bit further and shading in only one direction. Think of creating a smooth gradient that's going to go from light to dark. And holding your pencil a bit further will help you gain more control into the amount of pressure that you actually put onto your pencil. When we hold the pencil from afar and use the side of it to shade, we're able to go from light to dark very, very easily. Getting comfortable with holding your pencil this way may take a little bit of time, but it's the correct way to shade. Now, if I were to hold my pencil much closer, it would create more streakiness and there wouldn't be a soft transition like you see on the left. So I definitely recommend you guys try this if you haven't already, and even if you have, it's always a great tip to try. Every time you're shading, think about creating a smooth, consistent gradient while making all values different going from dark to light. I love practicing these, and I think it's a great way to train your hand to shade. And overall, what you should strive for is to shade in one direction, keep the pressure consistent with every section, and make sure that all your values are different. And to add to the fun of the challenge, try a colored pencil. Doing the same study in black and white and in color is something that I'm a big fan of, so I really recommend you guys try one out in black and white and in color. This way you can feel the different pressure and consistency of each pencil. And colored pencils may feel a little bit tricky, but it's all part of the learning process. So now that we have practiced our shading value scales, we have a base reference for the next tip, which is understanding lighting. Before we begin shading, we need to understand how light hits an object. Light shows us form, and the way that it hits an object determines the light and shadows that it'll produce. The way you will see it best is if you set up your own object in front of you, and I recommend using a lamp to set the lighting right over the object. Starting with a simple sphere or egg is perfect. Now ask yourself, where is the light coming from? Where is the shadow? Do I see any other values present in this object? Take a second to think about this before you begin shading. Now let's talk about how light actually creates the form. To help us best see, we can actually break them down into a light group and a shadow group. Since the light is coming from the top right, we can easily tell them apart. When we observe the object, we can clearly see the highlights sitting right at the very top where the light hits it the most. Right around it, we have something called the century light, which is the area that faces directly towards the light source. Since our object is covering the bottom, that is what creates our shadows. There is minimal light hitting that part of the surface, therefore it creates the darkest shadows. And over here is the form shadow. There are a few terms to remember, and it's super important to understand them before you begin shading. Remember, it's all about the light. Now that we've discussed lighting, let's talk about tip number 3, which will include shading techniques of basic forms. Before jumping into really complex drawings, I really recommend sketching out and shading your basic form. It's always great practice. When drawing, my tip to you guys is to use your hand from your shoulder and sketch out general strokes when you're drawing. This will help you build the form easier. Make sure you include the table line because that is part of your composition. Placing your object in front of you under a light really gives you the true values rather than working from a photo. Once you establish the shape, I really like to give a little secret tip to shading. Personally, I use these rounded oval strokes when I shade with the side of my pencil. This way I'm able to build up my values, and I just go lightly and slowly, and I go in circular motions to build up my values. Be patient with your drawing and build it up as slow as you can. Take your time. And going back to our grayscale shading, I like to place it beside of me to ensure that I have all of my values present in my drawing. I'm continuing to look at my object in front of me, but just for purposes of the video, I just shot a quick photo so you guys can see my view. I make sure I'm observing the cast shadows, I make sure that I'm observing the highlights and the overall form shadow of the object. I also think it's super crucial to include the background because that is what makes our form pop. Putting a value for the background makes your form look 3D and brings it to life. And as you're drawing, be sure to go back and forth and build up your strokes and your shading throughout the whole drawing. And once you're done, I really recommend to hold up your drawing right in front of your object and really see what you can fix or what you can improve. Strive for consistency and beautiful shading when it comes to doing your drawings. Practicing basic forms is extremely crucial because these basic forms are what make up big complex objects. After shading the sphere, I decided to shade some more basic shapes for you guys and show you how I do it. As long as you're thinking about the lighting and where it's coming from and making sure that all your values are present, your shading should be successful. Make sure that you're creating a high contrast of the values, meaning that you have a clear shadow, a clear highlight, and a clear midtone, at least. You can absolutely have more tones in between, but I really recommend having 3 of those at all times. Keep referencing back to your grayscale and compare your values to what you're laying down on your paper. Think about the direction that you put your pencil in. When you're shading any object, try shading in the direction that the object is going. I actually like to start off one way and then crosshatch over, which helps me create a really seamless, smooth shade. Again, with each object, I'm making sure that I have a clear highlight, a clear shadow, a little bit of reflected light, as well as a background. Those elements are the most important. And as you pile up your big collection of basic forms, you want to make sure that you're thinking about some goals for yourself, as always. Although I have shaded many of these and I still continue to learn from them, I set goals and intentions to make sure that I have improved something while making these drawings. Maybe your goal is to simply create a very successful form with clear shadows. Maybe it's to create 10 shapes that have very successful highlights and shadows. Create some goals for yourself so that you can achieve them and improve your art skills. After understanding the basic light and form of all the basic shapes, you will be able to understand the more complex objects and figures that we have when we shade. Although I've had many years of experience, I still go back to these grayscale shadings and my basic forms to make sure I have all my values present and I'm keeping to learn. I hope you guys try these exercises out and put them side by side and compare. Look at your drawing and see if you have the cast shadows, all your highlights, and you're looking at the numbers to see if you have them in your drawing. This way you create a nice reference diagram for yourself, and it's a really helpful visual to help you see. When you understand light and apply them to your drawings become successful. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you found it helpful. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and check out other videos for all these different tips I have for you guys. If you try any of these exercises out, feel free to tag me on Instagram. I'd love to see what you guys create. Remember to fall in love with the process and the rest will come. As I'm going through the final drawings that I've made in this demonstration, comment below which one of these tips has helped you the most today. And I hope that this inspired you to try them out for yourself. Thank you so much for the support and for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!
Here in our figure is a sample technique that you can use. So what we have learned, what is done here in the figure is that meron siyang tonal value on your right side, and then that tonal value was done or was integrated here in the figure on your left side. So nag-create siya. So black, dark gray, medium gray, light gray, and then your white. That will serve as your guidelines in applying those elements in your drawing or in your form. Okay, thank you everyone. I hope you had your takeaways today. And I wanted to see these elements in the activity uploaded today in your MS. Thank you and good day.